Well, good afternoon, church. We're so excited that you're joining us with our Facebook Live. We don't typically go Facebook Live, but we are Facebook Live right now, and we so appreciate the time you've given us. We won't be long today, but we do have an important COVID update, and we want to do our best to communicate with you about what's going on here at the church with some new guidelines we're looking to implement. But do us a favor, if you're online with us right now, if you'll just comment that you're with us, that will be helpful. And then it could be that you've got a question or two that we might be able to answer while we're live. We'll be glad to do that if we have time at the end. But Pastor Dave, we're here to talk a little bit about some new guidelines that we're looking at.
Yes. Jason, we've had to make several adjustments the last couple of weeks because of COVID, because of the rise in cases. For the last few weeks, Saline and Pulaski County have had significant increase in numbers. In fact, I think we're typically in the top 5 counties, both Saline and Pulaski. So we felt like it was time to make an adjustment. Our governor, our government, our state government's been very lenient with churches, but we want to be very careful that we don't cause an issue and we don't risk any of our people. Our protocol up to this point for the last several months has been we've asked people to wear a mask coming into the worship center. They can take it off after they're seated and then, of course, put it back on when they exit, when they might be in closer proximity to others. We're seating socially distanced, still have plenty of room to be able to do that, so that's not been a problem. However, we feel like due to the increase in numbers the last few weeks, we want to try something for the next few weeks. Right now, we're just saying for the 3 Sundays left in December, and then we'll reevaluate in January when we see where things are. But because there is some idea that when we are singing, that could put molecules in the air that could infect people, we're going to ask folks this Sunday, the 13th, and then the 20th and 27th, for these next 3 Sundays, we're going to ask you to wear a mask during the singing part of the worship service, just that part. John's going to design the services where most of that worship singing comes at one time where you're not have to taking a mask on and off, but just during that part of the service that you would wear that mask while you're singing. Now, right off the bat, I know I've already talked to folks and I feel the same way. It's very difficult for some people to sing while wearing a mask, but I need us all to remember the importance of the body being gathered together. It'd be real tempting for these next few weeks while we do this to say, well, I'm just going to stay home and watch online. You do provide a great online service. There are people who aren't feeling like it's safe for them to be anywhere right now. They're not getting out and going places like many of us are. But I want to say to you, if you've been here and you've been connected, please don't let wearing a mask during worship keep you from gathering with the body. And here's what I'm going to suggest to you, and I'm pretty sure when John hears me say this, he's not going to be happy. If you don't feel like you can sing wearing a mask, would you just come on to worship? And if you want to remain seated and not sing, at least be here because you get something just out of being a part of that worship environment. As we're singing, we're not just saying words we're not thinking about. Hopefully, we're thinking about the words that we're singing. So if you're not able to sing because you can't wear a mask while you're singing, at least be here and be able to hear what's being sung, to hear what we're saying to the Lord, to be a part of that, and then you don't miss out on the fellowship and the opportunity to be together. So again, Jason, just to summarize, we're just asking people, hey, we want to try this for the next 3 weeks to wear a mask just during the singing part of the worship service, and let's just see how things go through the holidays, through Christmas, and we'll reevaluate that right after the first of the year. And let me also say this, though. I want you to understand we are not. The governor came out with some guidelines. Was that about a month ago, maybe a month and a half ago? It was just guidelines. It was not mandates. We chose to do things the way we felt like was safe. For some of you that wonder if we're bowing to the government, no, we're not. We just want to be careful to keep you safe, to keep anyone in the community that we're connected with safe. And so we just want to try this and see if it's helpful.
Sure. And I think it is a helpful step in the right direction because we play this balancing act of both trying to serve the community and obviously as we're seeing COVID increases all around us, we have a need to respond to that, but we also have a need to respond to those who are, hey, we're inside and we're with us already. Yep. So we feel like this is a good compromise to wear a mask while singing and not necessarily the entire time. I was speaking with a family Sunday morning and they asked, hey, are you guys about to close the doors? Because they were so worried about all the increases, although they're here with us in person every week. And I said, absolutely not. We're doing all those other things so that we can keep the doors open as much as possible. That's why we've chosen to kind of postpone small groups through the month of December. That's why we're choosing this mandate, doing all we can so that we can keep our doors open. It's really important for us. And I certainly know this requires a lot of flexibility for some.
It does.
Some
It does.
will say, I've got a medical condition to wear a mask that long is too difficult for us. And we certainly understand that. But I just want to reiterate what you mentioned, how important that fellowship is. I remember the first several weeks when we were doing worship service by ourselves up here, and the doors were closed and the lights were off, and it just felt so strange. But the first week, we were able to come back together as a body, and I believe it was outside.
It was,
and I just thought to myself, oh, this is the church.
Yes.
And so I know for some you're not able to come back in, but for those who are with us, I just want to encourage you to stay with us and be encouraged and challenged. Being in person together is so vitally important. And so if you could do that, that's a huge win, I believe, for everybody. It certainly does require some flexibility along the side.
It does, but it's just a half step. I mean, we're not doing what the governor suggested, that you have to wear a mask the entire time you're in the building. Most of the service, you'll be very comfortable. Yeah. It's just kind of a half step we need to take. And I'll be honest, folks will probably see me over the next few weeks sitting down and sitting out that last song before the message, because I understand it's difficult to sing like that. And you just do what you need to do to be comfortable, but please don't abandon worshiping together with the body.
And so I also want to just make you aware that our worship leaders on stage will not be wearing masks. It's difficult to lead and to follow words necessarily if you can't see lips. And so, but they have the opportunity to be pretty spread out while on stage. And so just be aware that our worship leaders, our pastors will not be wearing masks on stage. They will, however, be wearing masks while they're in the congregation.
Yes. And the guideline for that is 12 feet. We're much farther than 12 feet from the platform to where folks are
we were talking earlier this week how the Lord has really given us a lot of grace in that we haven't had a lot of outbreaks here, if any at all. And so that's huge for us. We want to try to continue to maintain that.
Right.
We heard of a pastor this week who unfortunately has had COVID, and so he's got to shut down, and other churches around the state who are really struggling with some outbreak issues. And we're doing what we can to prevent that, and we feel like the mask issue is one of the ways we can do that.
Yeah, and we've pretty much been a model. We get calls from other churches wanting to know what we're doing with our cleaning, all of our protocols. We just want to make sure we're still maintaining the best safety standards we can to help folks.
Absolutely. Well, we thank you so much for joining us today, and we're so delighted to know that that you're with us and that you're engaging with us, being as flexible as possible. It means a lot to our team that you're willing to do that, and as we continue to evaluate the next several weeks, we certainly will keep you updated on how the guidelines might affect you. And again, we thank you for your prayers as we try to lead through this and try to serve both the community and our members at the same time. We just know we love you, and we can't wait to see you on Sunday.
Yeah, and it's such a great season, and from the music aspect, such great music. You don't want to miss that out. You don't want to watch that online. You want to be here and enjoy that and the excitement of all that and the time we're going to have together in the Word. It's just much different being in-house than it is watching online. For those of you that need to be online, man, we're grateful you're connected with us. We don't want you to take any risk at all. If you're not taking risk, you're not getting out, don't feel like you need to come here. We're glad you're connected online as well.
That's right. Thank you, Pastor Dave, for this update, and we'll see you guys soon.